learning. Today we are going to see storage account part 3. So, in today's session, I am going to show you the secured way of accessing the storage devices. So, let's get into the topic. So, now I am going to create a storage device and show you what are all the possibilities of create accessing the storage device. If you want a detailed description of how to create the storage device, you can very well go ahead and watch my previous videos regarding this. So now I'm going to just choose a resource group and unique name for this. So yes, it is in place. And now for now I'm just going to test. So I'm just leaving everything as blank. Here, see, this is the main part which I wanted to show you is this public endpoint. So I have given access to public internet. Anyone can access this. Okay. So for now, I'm just leaving everything as default and I'm creating a storage device. So validation is passed. Let's create a storage device. So within that time, I can show you an image like what is the part of today's demonstration. So we have storage device in place and we can access them like without any security we can access all over the internet, but that is not the case. If I wanted to access it securely, then I have two major ways of connecting it. One is service endpoint and another one is private endpoint. So when it comes to service endpoint, the difference is like if I have a VM in place and I wanted it to connect it to a storage device. So, as the name displays, the service endpoint means when I enable the service endpoint option for this particular virtual network, which has this virtual machine, what happens is I can access all the service, similar service. If I give storage, then storage. If I give SQL, then SQL. So, all the similar service can be accessed by this particular VM in a secured way. That is known as service endpoint. So, in a private endpoint, it will actually be like creating a entire network, feeling like the entire storage device is inside the particular network. So here the connection will be via the Microsoft backend, so it will be so secure. Same way here it will be a private connection. And apart from this, you also have some major differences, like you will have this connected to all the service. Okay, here we can make it like this particular storage device need to be accessed by this particular virtual machine in a private connection. Let's get into the topic. So yeah, it is in place. So I have successfully created a machine. So yes, same way we'll go to the storage option, storage account. Here this is the test machine is now I have created, and yes, it is in place. And here just I'm going to test it with a container blob storage, just container. I can just give a name, and for now I'm going to give it as a blob anonymous read access. This can be accessed by anyone. Okay, so I created this and I'm opening this. I'm going to upload a small image for testing purpose. So I'm going to browse. I'm just choosing an image for now. Open, upload. So yes, it is in place. I'm going to double click here. Now I'm just copying this URL and let's try it. Done. Wow, so now I can see this image in place. Yes, so I have created a storage and I have the HTTP this URL in place, and I will just paste it and I can view this. Okay, wow, super nice. But what if the same case an hacker can also view your data? This is not a confidential data, so that is not a big deal. But what if you have an organizational confidential data and you have made the connection like private and everyone can access that? That is not the right way. So we should not keep it in such a way. So what we are going to do is, this is the particular network, this is the particular storage device. Down in networking, you can see what option you have given, all network. That's why you are able to connect it now. If I give selected network, okay, and if I have some like only one or two members in my storage team who are working, in that case, like I can very well add his address number or address range. If I wanted to access this particular virtual machine alone, this particular workstation, I want to access this particular storage, I can just enter the IP address here. But that's not the case. I'm going to do it for service endpoint and the private endpoint. So as we discussed, no, I already have a virtual machine. See, just I will show you the image. I have created a virtual machine inside this particular network. That's what I have did, and I have created a storage device in the same region. Okay, these are the three steps which I have done. So for now, I'm just giving selected network, and I'm just going to save it. I did not give any option. I just given selected network. Okay. Now you can see I have a virtual machine. This is the virtual machine in a virtual network. This is nothing but in the Internet Explorer. I have just given storage Explorer, Azure Storage Explorer, and I have downloaded it. If you want, I can show you. You can refer my previous video how to do that. So in downloads, I have quick access. We can see. So I have this in place, and I have just run this, and now we can see this in place. But it is like a just a Azure Storage Explorer. I have not connected yet, so I'm just going to give connect option. We can connect via various ways, but for now I'm just going to connect it with the help of access key. So storage account services, what I want, account name and key. This will promptly ask you for access key. Display name is nothing, just you can give anything as you wish. So I wanted a account name and access key as well. So I'm just going to the storage. This is the particular storage device. So yeah, where we need to go, access keys. Okay, show keys. Just copy the name, open the storage explorer, paste. Okay, next, here I have keys in place, copy, just paste. So next, see, now it is connected. Just it is loading. See, inside blob I have created, but it is not showing you the, see, it is showing you an error message. Why? Because I have selected a network, but I have not added anything to this. That's why it is showing a error message. So what we can do, first I will show you how to create a storage div service endpoint. Okay, so let's just go to the virtual network, click. For a virtual network, you need to enable this service endpoint. In left side pane, you need to create a. Actually, I have already created one, so I'm just going to delete it. So yeah, it's deleting. So here you can see the, okay, service endpoint. I'm just going to, in the particular VNet, this service endpoint. I have deleted the service endpoint, but then after that it is not showing. Let's just try it again. Virtual network. click in the particular virtual network service endpoint. So yes, now we can see it in place. I want to choose the service. So for this entire service, this secured service endpoint will be created. So I don't want any policy as of now. I can choose all the subnets I have added. So it will take some time. Okay, now for this particular VNet, I have enabled the service endpoint. Inside this VNet, I have one virtual machine. That is what I have opened and showed you now. So again, we'll go to the storage. Okay, you can understand, right? I have opened the virtual network. So there I have enabled the service endpoint for particular virtual network. So here in networking, now I have opened the storage account. In the networking, in the selected network option, I need to add the virtual network which I have enabled the service endpoint. Okay, I have enabled the subnet as well. So yeah, it is done. So I'm going to give save. Okay, now what happened is in a select, this is the first thing what I'm doing is service endpoint. Just you can, I will give you a recap of that. So in the service endpoint, how we can do is in the firewall virtual selected network, I can select a VNet. This VNet, in this particular VNet, I have enabled the service endpoint. See, service endpoint is in place and I have added it here. Now I am going to open a virtual machine which is inside that particular VNet. So again, I will open the Storage Explorer. It will take some time. Connect. See, previously we saw an error message. Since I have not enabled any connection. No, I have saw a error message. Okay, I have given a name. Let's copy this, paste, copy this, paste. Just keep next, next, connect. Okay, disconnected. So now see Achu test one blog. Wow, now I could see this Achu test image. Why? Because I have enabled the connection in place. So I have enabled the service endpoint. Now let's go to private endpoint. That is very simple actually. How to enable a private endpoint is right. We'll just delete this. I'm removing this. So in the private endpoint, just click on private endpoint option. See the difference? You have the option separately, private endpoint. So here just provide any name. Okay. So just choose the location. I have that network in East US. So next, it is loading. What you want the target resource block. Okay. Next. So the particular VNet. Okay. Next. No need any tags. Review and create. Wow. So now we can see this. It is creating a private endpoint. So just keep create. It might take some time. So now also the same way you can connect at the user end. You will not feel any difference while creating the accessing it via the private endpoint and the service endpoint, but there are differences in the creation. You can very well get it, I think. So once it is deployed, no, we can see in the private endpoint you will see one thing in place for that particular virtual network. So that's it. So for this, what and all resources we required is a storage device, a virtual network, a VM for testing inside that particular virtual network. And I am going to access this. Okay, it is taking some time. Once it's deployed, no, you will just see this here. Now the same